Modern life is loud, crowded, and always on. Most of America's 19,000 towns look the same and feel the same, but there are pockets of the country hidden in plain sight, where time slows down and the noise cuts out. These are real places where you can disappear without being lost. From a town inside a single building to a community that still uses mules to deliver its mail, this is the definitive ranking of the most secluded towns in the United States that you can actually visit. 1. Interior, South Dakota. Why number 1? Interior takes the top spot because it sits at the literal unzipped edge of the world where time wanders off and cell service vanishes completely. The location, nestled at the entrance of Badlands National Park, Interior is a place where highways thin out and the horizon stretches forever. With fewer than 100 residents, it is a town so small it barely appears on digital maps unless you are looking for it. Living conditions. The cost of living is remarkably low, but groceries must be planned strategically. There are no traffic lights, no espresso machines, and no rush. Silence is the native language here, and the crime rate is practically non-existent. The draw. People often pass through for a quick photo of the Badlands, but those who stay discover a philosophical level of quiet. It is the ultimate destination for anyone who wants to feel gravity on their own terms without the interference of a digital world. 2. Elk, California. Why number 2? Elk is California's version of a hermit mode tucked so quietly into the Mendocino coast that even most Californians cannot find it on a map. The atmosphere. It is a pocket of calm wedged between rocky ocean bluffs and ancient redwood forests. The population of around 250 people lives in a state of permanent vacation without the gaudy tourist shops found in other coastal towns. The environment. Elk features the foggiest fog you have ever seen, creating a literal screen between the town and the rest of the world. The crime rate is so low that locals only consider locking their cars when it rains. Economic profile. While the cost of living is higher than inland rural areas, it remains below California coastal norms. Employment is tied to local hospitality, arts, and forestry, with many residents bringing their own internet for remote work. 3. Jarbidge, Nevada. Why number 3? This town will blow your mind because it is one of the most isolated communities in the lower 48, and it treats its lack of infrastructure as a badge of honor. The access. Tucked into a canyon near the Idaho border, Jarbidge is reached via gravel roads with steep grades that often disappear under snow in the winter. In the coldest months, access can go from difficult to non-existent. The population. Only about 25 people live here year-round. There are no guardrails, no signs, and no police station. Behavior is a group project, and every resident knows exactly where everyone else is at all times. The reality. You do not move to Jarbidge to be close to things, you move there to be far from them. It offers mountain streams, aspen groves, and earns silence that has not been updated because it simply does not need to be. 4. Hollow Oak, Maine. Why number 4? On this tiny island town inside Acadia National Park, Wi-Fi is not a right, it is merely a rumor. The isolation. Accessible only by ferry from Stonington, Maine, there are no bridges or airports. Once you arrive, you are committed to the island's schedule, which is dictated entirely by the weather and the tides. Community scale. With approximately 50 permanent residents, the town is smaller than an elevator ride in a major city. The loudest thing on the island is the ocean, and even the ocean seems polite about its volume. The trade-off. Supplies and transport add to the cost of living, and the one coffee spot only offers internet occasionally. However, the reward is a rich, grounded isolation that allows you to hear your own thoughts again. 5. Tin Sleep, Wyoming. Why number 5? Tin Sleep does not try to impress you, it just waits until the lack of noise wins you over. The name, named for the 10 sleeps or nights it took Native Americans to travel between landmarks, this town was never meant to be rushed. It sits between the Bighorn Mountains and the Absaroka Range. The culture. With a population of 260, it has more world-class climbing routes than traffic lights. Climbers from around the world sit at the same bars as local ranchers who have never seen a chalk bag. The vibe. Everything closes early, and there is no such thing as customizing your order at the local bar. It is a town that removes the static of modern life and replaces it with honest, functional living. 6. Point Roberts, Washington. Why number 6? This town is a geographical anomaly where going to the grocery store requires crossing an international border twice. The error. Point Roberts is American soil dangling off the bottom of Canada due to a treaty line drawn in 1846. It is a peninsula only reachable by driving through British Columbia. Daily life. Residents must cross 2 borders for every round trip to the mainland. Errands feel like geopolitical negotiations involving 3 flags and customs agents. The benefit? This friction shrinks life in a good way. The population of 1,300 enjoys a polite coastal vibe with bald eagles and quiet beaches because committing a crime here would require a passport and a customs declaration. 7. Beaufort, Wyoming. Why number 7? Beaufort surrendered to decline so completely that its entire population once fit inside a single SUV. The scale: once a bustling railroad outpost, Beaufort shriveled until it had exactly 1 permanent resident who ran the gas station and the convenience store. The status: it is a dot on the map along Interstate 80 with 1 building and sometimes 0 residents. It was eventually sold to a Vietnamese coffee company and remains a symbol of ultimate American independence. The experience: standing by the lone gas pump, you hear nothing but the wind rolling in flat waves. It is a town where the silence is an event and there are no neighbors to complain about your lawn care. 8. Grafton, Utah. Why number 8? At this location you will see more tumbleweeds than people because the last homeowners association meeting was held in 1944. The history: founded in 1859 and abandoned by the 1940s, Grafton is one of the best preserved ghost towns in the American West. It served as a filming location for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The visit: you reach it via a bumpy dirt road that acts as a chiropractic test. There are no ticket booths or tour guides, just the old schoolhouse and a cemetery with 74 graves. The atmosphere: it is a place where you can feel perspective because time stopped not due to war, but simply because life moved on to better farmland. 9. Whittier, Alaska. Why number 9? Imagine a town where almost every resident lives inside the same 14-story concrete building. The tower: known as Beach Towers, this single building holds the post office, the police station, the grocery store, and the residence. It was built by the military in the 1960s to protect people from brutal winter storms. The constraints: there is only 1 tunnel in and out of town. If the tunnel is closed, you are staying put. The community of 200 people shares the same hallways and the same eerie tranquility. The landscape: despite the strange living arrangement, Whittier is hugged by glaciers and unreal harbor views. It offers an extreme version of minimalism where your neighborhood is just the other side of the hallway. 10. Slab City, California. Why number 10? This is America's last free town where there are no laws, no rent, and no utilities, but plenty of structure. The community: located in the Sonoran Desert, it is a former military base turned squatter paradise and art commune. There is no mayor, no cops, and no running water unless you haul it in yourself. The logistics: residents use solar panels and generators to survive 110-degree heat. It is a place where people go when everywhere else has said no. The culture: it features an open-air nightclub built out of discarded washing machines and a library held together by desert wind. It is a space where freedom is the only currency. 11. Green Bank, West Virginia. Why number 11? This is the quietest town in America because cell phones are banned and Wi-Fi is legally illegal. The science: Green Bank sits inside the National Radio Quiet Zone to protect a massive radio telescope that listens to the universe. A single phone pinging a notification would sound like an air horn at a funeral to the telescope. The impact: residents use landlines and paper maps. Conversations matter more here because digital distractions are literally against the law. The reality: it is a place where you are detoxed from social media by the time you reach the town limits. It offers a life where neighbors wave because they have to and not because they are waiting for a text to load. 12. Supai, Arizona. Why number 12? Located at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, this is the only place in the United States where the mail still arrives by mule. The hike: there are no roads into Supai. You must hike 8 miles down into the canyon or take a helicopter. It is home to the Havasupai tribe and has been protected for centuries. The society: with approximately 200 residents, Supai has no hustle culture and no side gigs. Life moves at the pace of the canyon walls. The safety: it is one of the safest places in the country because getting in or out takes a full day of physical effort. It is a place that decides whether you are welcome rather than a destination you conquer. 13. Monhegan Island, Maine. Why number 12? Floating 12 miles off the coast of Maine, this island exists in its own time zone, with no cars and no paved roads. The residents. Only 60 people live here year-round. Everything from groceries to building supplies arrives by boat, and in the winter you have to be friends with the lobster fishermen to get anything done. The light. Painters and poets have been drawn here for a century because the light hits the cliffs differently. It is a town where the fog deserves its own copyright. The grit. Living here means choosing to be your own supply chain. It is not for the flaky, as isolation on Monhegan is a native species that requires waterproof boots and mental toughness. 14. Terlingua, Texas. Why number 14? Terlingua is a ghost town that lounges in a hammock with a beer and zero regard for your schedule. The desert. Located near Big Bend National Park, it is a place of heat, so dry your skin might file for emancipation. The town hall is also the local bar and the court of public opinion. The vibe. People come here to feel what it is like when everything stops moving. There is no airport, and the road stops pretending to be a road long before you reach the first house. The locals. The 100 full-time residents are storytellers and outlaws who prefer stars over cell bars. It is a place where every porch is made from salvaged church pews, and the moon seems to wink at you. 15. McCarthy, Alaska. Why number 15? McCarthy is a town where the population dropped from 1,000 to 28, and everyone agrees that it was an improvement. The park. It sits deep inside Wrangell's St. Elias National Park, which is 13 million acres of silence. To get there, you drive 60 miles on gravel and walk across a footbridge. The law. There is no police force within 120 miles. The town is populated by artists, bush pilots, and dogs named Bear. The survival. Living here means hauling groceries across a bridge and chopping your own wood for 9 months of winter. It is a place of absolute freedom, but that freedom comes with frostbite and mosquitoes the size of sky pirates. These 15 towns serve as a reminder that the American landscape is not just a series of interconnected suburbs and cities. From the desert art of Slab City to the radio silence of Green Bank, these communities represent a choice to live differently. They are places where geography dictates behavior and where the lack of convenience is rewarded with a clarity of mind that is impossible to find in a world of constant notifications. Visiting them requires a map, a plan, and a little nerve, but the perspective gained from disappearing responsibly is worth every mile of gravel road.